The distance across Texas from north to south is approximately 800 miles. A map uses a scale in which 1 inch represents 25 miles. Which measurement is closest to the scale distance in inches across Texas from north to south on the map? So this is the word problem, so I am going to use my RAISE strategy. I've already read it, but I'm going to read it again, and I'm going to look for vocabulary words that might help me out, and also just important information. Let's see. So the distance across Texas from north to south is approximately 800 miles. I think I'm going to highlight that. And then a map uses a scale in which 1 inch represents 25 miles. That's also important. And I'm going to circle the word scale. That's some vocabulary for me. Which measurement is closest to the scale distance in inches across Texas from north to south on the map? So I'm going to underline which measurement is closest to the scale distance across Texas. So that's what I'm really looking for, right? How far is the scale distance across Texas, and specifically on the map, right? So we know it's 800 miles in real life. We want to know how much is that on the map. All right, so we have read it. We understand what we're doing. That's the A. The A is what is this problem asking? We've looked at our important information. That's our I. Now, were there any distractors here? No, we actually need all this information. Okay, so then let's choose a strategy. I think my strategy is going to be a proportion. Let me show you how I would set that up. So I'm going to compare inches on the map to miles across Texas. So we know that 1 inch on the map corresponds to 25 miles in real life. That's going to be my first ratio. We also know that it's actually 800 miles across Texas. So where should the miles go, on the numerator or in the denominator? In the denominator, right? Because miles are in my denominator over here. So that's where my 800 is going to go. And then my variable up here is going to represent the distance on the map. What variable could we use? We normally use x, right? But you really can use anything. I think since the problem is asking me for the distance, I'm going to use a D for distance. Most people use x. You can use whatever letter you want as long as it makes sense to you. So we're finding the distance on the map. Okay, so now I'm going to look for relationships between these ratios. And I know that 25 is a factor of 800, right? I could think about how many times 25 goes into 800. I don't actually know that off the top of my head, though. You know what I do know? I know that 1 times 25 is 25, right? So that means that D times 25 equals 800. So I could figure out what D is by dividing by 25. That's not too hard. So let's do 800 divided by 25. All right. So check it out. It goes in 32 times. So that means D equals 32 inches. So the distance across Texas on my map is going to be 32 inches, which is answer choice C. Okay, so my strategy was a proportion. I'm going to write that down here. Now let's think, is this reasonable? So looking at the answer choices that I have here, I can see that A and B are not reasonable at all. They are way off. I know that my answer needs to be 1/25 of 800, right? It needs to follow the ratio of 1 to 25 in order to be representative of that map. I think they probably got answer choice C by just subtracting 800 minus 25. But when we're talking about scale, that's a multiplicative relationship, right? That's why I circled that word scale. That means we're going to be multiplying. So I shouldn't be subtracting. That's where answer choice B came from. I don't actually know where answer choice A comes from, but it's also way outside of what we would expect, right? C and D both look fairly reasonable, and we confirmed that D is the correct answer here. And it is a reasonable choice, and we've evaluated our decision. So we're going with answer choice C.